Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio. Brought to you by OnPay. Built in Atlanta, OnPay is the top-rated payroll and HR software anywhere. Get 1 month free at onpay.com. Now, here's your host.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of Atlanta Business Radio, and this is going to be a good one. But before we get started, it's important to recognize our sponsor, OnPay. Please support them so we can continue to share these stories. Today on Atlanta Business Radio, we have Ryan McConnell, and he is with SelecSource. Welcome, Ryan.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I am doing great. Before we get too far into things, tell us about SelecSource. How are you serving folks?
Yep. So SelecSource, we are a staffing firm here in Atlanta, founded in '97 by our CEO, David Webb. He learned the business out of college and then embarked on a journey basically to help companies solve contingent workforce problems. And then through the years, we've sort of evolved into 4 areas of specialty, which are obviously industrial, professional, power and cable, and then our new technical workforce solutions division.
Well, tell us about that. This is a new initiative for you guys?
Yep. So basically, in a nutshell, our technical workforce practice, we focus on helping companies identify and onboard engineer and IT professionals in this tough market. We can support companies on contract to hire, and direct hire basis, depending on each company's specific needs. So.
Now, those kind of folks, typically, I would imagine the unemployment rate for that is very low because companies are hungry for that kind of talent. How do you kind of attack that?
Yeah, I mean, the last article I read, the sort of engineering and IT unemployment is below sort of 3% now, which is just crazy. So you can imagine the headaches and challenges companies are having when they're all trying to find, or they're all sort of competing with each other to hire the same skill set. So we obviously have our tools and resources available to us, but the main thing that we lean on is really our network of people that we have either worked with in the past or that we're working with currently that can introduce us to candidates that are maybe a little bit more passive. That's where we've seen the most success is when we're finding people that aren't actively on the job boards and actively interviewing, but when we're able to take a really exciting position to them that piques their interest, then that helps us obviously not compete with a million other staffing firms and along with the other companies trying to hire them as well.
So now what are some things that the talent can be doing in order to stand out and be kind of found?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, especially in Atlanta, there's a lot of great networking events that are hosted and put on by staffing firms. You can attend those. There's obviously, I mean, LinkedIn nowadays, especially in the engineering and IT space, 99% of people have a pretty solid LinkedIn page, and obviously within that you can let people know if you're interested in new opportunities or not. But that's where we find a lot of our engineering and IT people outside of our network is LinkedIn is a massive tool for us as well.
Now, what about this kind of, now a lot of the businesses are moving to work from home. Does that kind of open up the pool to people anywhere in the world really as a potential candidate for some of these opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, it all really depends on the company and how sort of forward thinking they are. We're working with some clients who are still very much, no, once this passes, we want everybody back in the office, whereas other companies are seeing it as a massive opportunity to really be able to pull people from anywhere if you're not expecting somebody to be in the office 2 or 3 days a week. So it's going to be interesting for sure to see what comes of this, if that makes sense. The companies who I think are a little bit more flexible and who are open to continuing with this remote work from home piece that's obviously been forced upon us, I think those guys are going to be in a much, much better position after all this than the sort of stubborn companies who still say this is the way we've done it forever and we're still going to make people come into the office 5 days a week. So it's going to be interesting for sure.
So now, in your background, you've been involved in recruiting for a minute or so. Is this kind of technical staffing different than other types of recruiting?
Yeah, I mean, really, obviously, you have to know the technology piece, you have to know the engineering piece in order to fully qualify or disqualify candidates and sort of rule them in as a viable option or rule them out and not waste your time and your client's time. So it's definitely a little bit tougher because it is obviously so technical. You've got to be able to find the person who has the technical background to execute on the project or the work that the company need, but you also have to, the personalities have to align as well to make sure they're going to be a good cultural fit. And what we're seeing is obviously engineers and IT professionals. Years ago, it was maybe sort of not, I don't want to use the term recluse, but the likes of a developer would come in the office, head down, sit in their corner in the dark and code away all day, whereas now business is changing and companies are looking for developers to be a little bit more customer facing as well and be able to communicate well with people. So that's the challenge. It's finding what companies want from a technical standpoint, but also finding somebody with the soft skills that they need as well.
So now your clients that kind of partner with you in helping them find the appropriate talent, how do you kind of have those discovery conversations where you determine, okay, this person's, the best coder I've ever seen, but he's culturally, it's not going to be a fit. Like, how do you determine what's really the most important kind of person they're looking for and how to match them appropriately?
I mean, honestly, it's just open, honest conversations with the companies and the managers that you're working with. We typically try not to do business with people unless we've had a chance to sit down in front of them and see their offices and get a really good feel for them and their company, and that obviously helps us. We do a lot of stalking of the people that are already in the company on LinkedIn. We use that to see what they've typically hired previously, and that helps hugely as well. But there's no real right or wrong. You just have to. We put people in front of the client. We obviously believe that this person matches. We're always looking for sort of at least 85% of what the hiring manager is looking for, and then we encourage them just to have a conversation or meet in person, because that's when everything aligns and you either click with somebody or you don't. So the key is just connecting them and getting them on a call or getting them in sitting across from each other where they can have those really deep technical conversations as well.
Now, is it difficult to kind of penetrate the market since you're kind of new at this side of your business, even though you've been doing the other side for a while? There's a lot of, kind of established players in this space here in town. Is this something that's hard for you to get the opportunities, or are these companies so hungry they'll talk to everybody and anybody that might have a solution to help them get more of the right talent?
So it's definitely been interesting. So my background before joining SelecSource, I spent 3 years with Randstad doing nothing but engineering, and then I transitioned when my wife and I moved to New York City. I transitioned into the IT world at that point. I spent sort of the last 3 years there. So I feel my advantages are I have a really good blend of the engineering piece and the IT piece. So to use that old sort of phrase, I know enough about both to be dangerous. So that's helped hugely. I obviously have a network and people that I've worked with previously that I have leaned on as well. But it's really been surprising because we kicked this off in May. Obviously, we were in the middle of the pandemic at that point. We didn't know how things were going to go, but we at least wanted to kick this off and get the name and get our offerings out there. But the response has been great. I mean, we've signed agreements with 13 companies. We got 15 live openings just now on our board. I guess what we're seeing is companies still need good engineering talent, whether it's to develop new products, which keeps money coming in, or whether it's to get current projects over the line. And we're seeing a lot of companies with the remote piece, they're adding to their IT security or IT support groups, obviously to help them keep their infrastructure safe or keep their people productive working from home. So it's been a surprisingly good start for us. So I guess the key is we're in an industry where, I mean, it is extremely difficult to find people, and I think companies are more open to giving you an opportunity to pitch your services and how you can help them.
So right now it's getting the opportunities is easier than getting the talent to fill the opportunities?
Maybe not easier. It still do a ton of work on the front end to get to that point, but it's definitely it's been easier than I thought it was going to be during this time of uncertainty. I'll say that much. But obviously, yeah, once you get the jobs in, then you have to execute, and that's where the delivery team, it's so important that they continue to build out their pipeline of local people within different skill sets, so that when company X comes to us for a .NET developer, an electrical engineer, we have a pool of people ready to go and ready to send them. So.
Now, are you finding that the folks that are just graduating college, are they kind of ready to work, or is this because of the pandemic, it's difficult to kind of onboard a brand new person and get them kind of, weaved into the culture and the training and the right way that we do things here, as opposed to maybe pre-pandemic, it was easier to onboard somebody like a new young person? Yeah,
it's just, I can't really speak for what we're doing right now. We're working a lot of mid-level and senior level positions, so I haven't came across that in the last couple of months since we kicked this off. But obviously, previously, we've in my past life, I've placed a lot of junior people, and again, it comes back to the company. It's they're either interested in getting young people in and they're willing to invest in their development, or they're not, and those good people go elsewhere. So. It's hard to really say, yeah.
But right now you're focused more on mid to senior level?
Yeah, it seems to be. That's what companies are coming to us for and leaning on us for is sort of that 5 to 10 year person across different skill sets. So it sounds like obviously companies are running a little bit leaner just now. There's probably been layoffs. So at this point in time, managers maybe don't have the same time and the same numbers on their team that they maybe had in the past to help them get a more junior resource up to speed.
Now, are there any other kind of trends you're seeing in the industry?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's only been a couple of months, but what we're seeing is, like I mentioned earlier, there's a heavy emphasis on IT security, IT support. The engineering sort of product development space is really good just now. We're seeing a lot of people needing assistance in sort of highly skilled technicians as well for manufacturing plants. That's something that we do. But the biggest thing we're seeing is it feels like companies are a little bit more reluctant to add full-time headcount to the teams just now during the pandemic. Like I said earlier, they're running a little bit leaner and keeping people off their payroll, which is good for us, because obviously we can support companies on a sort of time and material basis. We can help them scale quickly or cut back depending on the need, and that way they're only paying for somebody for the duration of time that they need. So companies are definitely more flexible, because engineering especially has always been sort of permanent hire heavy. So it's nice to see companies pivot and bringing on more contract labor, or companies that are even doing a little bit more in the contract to hire space where they have sort of 6 months to try before they buy, really, if that makes sense.
Now, if there is some talent out there that wants to get on your radar, can they go to your website and maybe submit kind of their credentials to you? Like, how does that work from that side, or do they just wait for you to call them? Yeah,
they can do that. They can go on the website and they can build themselves a profile. We obviously, there's the technical workforce drop down in the menu that has my information on there. I would just encourage them, reach out to me. Let's schedule a time to speak. I can connect them with somebody on our delivery team who will be able to have that sort of higher level technical discussion, and then we can see where we can help them locally. If we have a position, great. If not, then what I spend a lot of time doing is taking good people who are available to market. Basically, it helps them obviously find a position, and it helps us sort of break into new organizations as well. It's much easier to sell if we're going to a manager with something tangible, if that makes sense, and not just saying, this is Ryan with SelecSource, we do A, B, and C. Can I meet you or take you for coffee? So it makes the sales side of things a little bit easier when we have really good talent to market locally as well.
And then the pain that somebody looking for talent is having is they're just frustrated they can't get the right fit, and that they should contact you as well, right?
Yes, for sure. I mean, every company we deal with, there's headaches and challenges. There's a reason why they're coming to us. It's just with the supply and demand and the market being so tight, and companies are fighting for the same people. And if you delay slightly, a manager's out on vacation, for example, you lose people. I mean, companies are getting from resume to hire now if it's an important position within a week, which is incredible. So, yeah.
And then those companies are what typical size? Like, do you have a sweet spot on types of companies you work with, or you work across the board from like maybe a funded startup all the way to like you mentioned some enterprise level companies?
Yeah, we're working with a little bit of everything. We're working with a cool transportation planning startup just now on some IT security initiatives for them, and then we do a lot within the mid-market space, the sort of, let's say, the 250 employees to 500-600 employees, and then we have massive manufacturing clients that have a global presence that are leaning on us to find people as well. So we're kind of touching on everything. We obviously love that mid-market area where there's maybe less barriers to entry, if that makes sense, where we can work directly with the managers and have those really good conversations about the position and have those good debriefs about candidates afterwards as well. So that's our sweet spot, is probably that mid-market client.
And if somebody wanted to learn more and get more information, maybe have more substantive conversation with you or somebody on your team, what's the website?
Yeah, they can go to www.selectsource.com. They can also just email me directly on rmcconnell at SelecSource, SelecSource.com as well. And I'll point them in the right direction.
Good stuff, Ryan. Well, congratulations on all your success, and it must be exciting to grow this new division of SelecSource.
For sure. We're enjoying it, and it's nice to now be in a position to help our clients all across their business as well. So
good stuff. Well, thank you for sharing your story today.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
All right. This is Lee Cantor. We'll see you all next time on Atlanta Business Radio. And remember, we could not be doing this work without the support of our sponsor, OnPay. Please support them so we can continue to share these important stories.
Today's episode of Atlanta Business Radio is brought to you by OnPay. Built in Atlanta, OnPay is the top-rated payroll and HR software anywhere. Get 1 month free at onpay.com.